Omagyantamirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurudmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Mena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurun Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhano Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhubhye Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasa Adi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So we will start the ninth chapter from second sloka onwards. It is very important chapter. So where this is the central chapter. Ninth and tenth chapters are the central chapters of Bhagavad Gita. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. So this ninth and tenth chapters are the central chapters of Bhagavad Gita, and they contain the most confidential knowledge, and this the confidential knowledge is actually preserved in the center, with the coverings on the both the sides, right? So that is how this is perceived, and let's see this one, the shloka number 2 of this very important chapter. Rajavidya Rajaguhyam Pavitram Idamuttamam Pratyakshaavagamam Dharmyam Susukam Kartamavyayam. This knowledge is the king of education and the most secret of all secrets. It is the purest knowledge, and because it gives direct perception of the self by realization, it is the perfection of religion. It is everlasting and it is joyfully performed. Okay, so it's this knowledge, the glory of this knowledge. No, Krishna is mentioning. This chapter of Bhagavad Gita is called the King of Education because it is the essence of all doctrines and philosophies explained before. Among the principal philosophers in India are Gautama, Kannada, Kapila, Yajnavalkya, Shandilya, and Vishwanara. And finally, there is Veda Vyas, the author of Vedanta Sutra. So there is no dearth of knowledge in the field of philosophy or transcendental knowledge. Now the Lord says that this ninth chapter is the king of all such knowledge, the essence of all knowledge that can be derived from the study of Vedas and different kinds of philosophy. Right? So it's a very nice thing we can see in this in India. There is no dearth of knowledge. Now, as it is mentioned, like Gautama, Kannada, Kapila, Yajnavalkya, Shandilya. So these are all proponents of. I'm not remembering the exact mapping. So these are all proponents of logic, that is Nyaya, then Vaisheshika, then different. This ones are there, like. There are these 6 kinds of philosophies that are there, right? Karma Mimamsa. So like that. So these different philosophies are there, and a philosophy means that which can explain everything about the entire creation and everything about all the phenomena of this world. So that's called a philosophy. So that means philosophy means it explains practically everything. No, that's the this one nature of a philosophy, or that's how a philosophy is called a philosophy, right? So now there is no dearth of knowledge in this tract of land in India. So much of wealth of knowledge is there, and here in this chapter, Krishna is telling he is going to give the king of all such knowledge. Then we can understand that it's the most confidential knowledge, and it's a really amazing thing. So Krishna has given in such a precise, concise way, so that we can very easily take it and understand it. Okay, so it is the most confidential knowledge, most confidential because confidential or transcendental knowledge involves understanding the difference between the soul and the body. And the king of all confidential knowledge culminates in devotional service. Right? So we studied before that the confidential knowledge means that knowledge about the spirit, and more confidential knowledge is the knowledge about the Paramatma, or the functioning of this world or by the direction of the Supreme Lord. And then the most confidential knowledge is about the devotional service, how we can have a relationship with that personality, and that Supreme Personality of God. So that is the most confidential knowledge. Okay, generally people are not educated in this confidential knowledge. They are educated in external knowledge. As far as ordinary education is concerned, people are involved in so many departments: politics, sociology, physics, chemistry, mathematics, astronomy, engineering, etc. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So there are so many departments of knowledge all over the world and many huge universities, but there is unfortunately no university or educational institution where the science of spirit soul is instructed. Yet the soul is the most important part of the body. Without the presence of soul, the body has no value. Still, people are placing great stress on the bodily necessities of life, not caring for the vital soul. So, in the Bhagavatam class 2 days back, we were discussing about a point that people are working on the extinction of various species. Some tiger is getting extinct, or some kind of animals are getting extinct, and people are taking so much tension and so much of um, like so much of attention is going there. But the spiritual science and the brahmanas, like who can actually teach the spiritual science, that the most intelligent species of life is getting extinct, from the planet, and people are not at all bothered about it. So, people are worried about some ignorant animal species is getting extinct, and people are not worried about the most intelligent species of life getting extinct, right? Just a minute, I'll just close this. So people are not worried about the most vital this one most vital species, that is the most intelligent species. So why all these other species are getting extinct? Because we have killed the intelligent species of life in the planet. So because of that, so all other species must suffer, right? So no unintelligent people, they will exploit everything, and they will try to there is no there is no limit to the experimentation and exploitation of this world. So we see that people no they don't know what is spirit, what is spiritual nature and things like that. And we by nature, we are spirit souls, and we like it's very difficult, without understanding our original nature, we try to meddle around with this world, and we will just be doing anything and everything. And we know, in our small appliances and whatever things we have in home, without knowing what it is, if we just meddle around with that, so then it will only create mess. No, it will not what is that no nothing proper will come out actually. So that's what is happening with this world. Everybody is trying to exploit this world in the way they want, and the world is also reacting in different ways, right? So in this way, like, we see that it's a mess actually, without understanding about the spiritual nature and the soul being involved and the super soul being involved and God being involved. So meddling around with this world, it's only going to create more and more problem. So that's what it's been happening, right? So now here it's last line, Prabhupada is saying, still people are placing great stress on bodily necessities of life, not caring for vital soul. So in the in personal level, they are just putting stress on the body and not on the soul. And in the global level, they are putting stress on the knowledge based on the body, and knowledge based on the material elements in the world. And spiritual knowledge, nobody cares for. No, it's not cared for at all. Okay. The Bhagavad Gita, especially from the second chapter on, stresses the importance of the soul. In the very beginning, the Lord says that this body is perishable and that the soul is not perishable. Antavanta ime deha nitya shoktha sharirinaha. That is a confidential part of knowledge. No, it's where this is the confidential part of knowledge. Simply knowing that spirit soul is different from this body and that its nature is immutable, indestructible, and eternal, but that gives no positive information about the soul. Sometimes people are under impression that the soul is different from the body, and that when the body is finished, or one is liberated from the body, the soul remains in a void or becomes impersonal. But actually, that is not the fact. So the confidential knowledge of body and soul, it just gives a basic information that we are not this matter, we are something different from matter. So that's the confidential knowledge, right? So but it doesn't give any positive information about the soul. No much details about the soul. So because there is not much of details about the soul, those who have reached only till the confidential knowledge, so they think that we will get finished after the body is finished. But then those who go further, more confidential knowledge and most confidential knowledge, so they will understand much more, right? Okay. But actually, that is not the fact. That means, no, we become impersonal or void. That's not the fact. How can the soul, which is so active within this body, be inactive after being liberated from the body? It is always active. If it is eternal, then it is eternally active. And its activities in the spiritual kingdom are the most confidential part of spiritual knowledge, right? So, as we had discussed, confidential, more confidential, and most confidential. So this most confidential, the highest, this one is the soul being, how it is being active in the spiritual world. No, that's the most confidential knowledge. Okay, these activities of the spirit soul are therefore indicated here as constituting the king of all knowledge, the most confidential part of knowledge. This knowledge is the purest form of all activities as explained in the Vedic literature. No, Pavitram Idam Uttamam. So, in the Padma Purana, man's sinful activities have been analyzed and are shown to be the results of sin after sin. Those who are engaged in fruitive activities are entangled in different stages and forms of sinful reactions. For instance, when the seed of a particular tree is sown, the tree does not appear immediately to grow. It takes some time. It is first a small sprouting plant, then it assumes the form of a tree, then it flowers and bears fruits, and when it is complete, the fruits and flowers are enjoyed by the persons who have sown the seed of the tree. Similarly, a man performs a sinful act, and like a seed, it takes time to fructify. There are different stages. The sinful action may have already stopped within the individual, but the results or the fruit of that sinful action are still to be enjoyed. There are sins which are still in the form of seed, and there are others which are already fructified and are giving us fruit, which we are enjoying as distress and pain, right? So this is like we have studied this in the no karma, like in the level 2 of Gita course. No, we have this no explanation on the various stages of karma, right? So anybody remembers that various stages of karma? Even some words, some no any uh, yes.
Prarabdha karma, Sanchita karma, that one, Prabhuji.
Yeah, yeah.
Only that much I remember, Prabhu.
Bijam Kutam, Prarabdha, Aprarabdha. So there is a graph for this. Anybody remembers? So this is a so when a sinful act is performed. Now I'll just put a graph here. So I'll just open my this one. It's a very, very important thing to know, and how it acts and things like that. Hare Krishna. So now we will see here. First is a sinful act is performed, right? Sinful action. So when an action is performed, so then it gets into an unmanifested reaction, which is called as aprarabdha. No, aprarabdha. So then this comes into this one of prarabdha. Prarabdha means that is the manifest reactions, like already that which has been manifested, like no Janma Aishwarya Shuta Shri. So good, no, the birth, the kind of birth that I have already taken, no, the kind of beauty that I have already got, the kind of education that I have already got, or the intelligence that I have already got, and things like that. So, and the kind of wealth that I've got, and all these things, what is already manifest, which like currently I'm going through, so this is like current. So that is there, and then it bears the fruits. So the fruits are either happiness or distress, right? So this comes like this. And then this from here there is another thing also goes, that is the thing of kutam. So kutam is called as the um, it's like kind of a stalk of seeds kind of a thing. It's sinful disposition or sinful tendencies, no, actually come about, no, tendencies. So tendencies actually come about, and then from there comes the bijam. Bijam means it's a proper seed. Seed means what? All the, anywhere we find this word seed in the spiritual discussions, we should know that it is a desire. So desire is called as seed, right? So this desire will lead us to perform more sinful actions, right? So first of all, if somebody wants to cheat somebody, and no, he doesn't have a tendency to cheat somebody, but then somehow or other he first did a sinful action of cheating, right? So then the aprarabdha, no, is getting generated. No, immediately there is a no, there is a reaction that has got generated out of it. It is, nobody can understand, nobody can see, it's just got generated, right? So then after that, so it has a two-prong action, as Prabhupada is mentioning here. So when a seed is put, then it takes some time for the tree to grow. So in that way, this aprarabdha is generated, but then over a time, it actually manifests. So it actually brings me in a situation where because I've cheated somebody, so then I should also be cheated. So I should also be deprived of wealth and things like that. So no, that situation is created. So then the aprarabdha, no, when the this one the aprarabdha actually like brings in the situation in such a way that somebody will come and cheat me, right? So then I'll enjoy the fruits, that is the fruit of the pain of the whole thing, right? And then no, the moment I did that cheating activity, immediately there is a tendency to commit more cheating activity is put into the system, and that will give rise to so many desires, how all ways I can cheat people, right? So and that leads to further sinful action, right? So both the sides it actually works. One is that my sinful actions are going to give me pain in the future, and then this one the sinful action will also create more tendencies for me to do sin. Same applies for the pious actions also. If somebody gives charity once, and then no, he gets this one what is disposition of a charitable person, right? So he becomes a charitable person over a period of time. No, giving, he becomes a charitable person. He likes giving charity, right? So that becomes his nature. right? So this is how the nature gets built up. So once we do, then the tendency comes a little bit, and then again I engage, it becomes more strong, and again I engage, it becomes more and more strong. Like that, it becomes our nature. The nature gets built up like this, right? So this is how the karma actually works. And like maybe like somebody can search this, papam bijam kutam and prarabdha. There's a nice image is there. Somebody can search in the internet and post it in our reading group. So that will kind of reading group, and also in our those who are there in the sangha group, they can put in the sangha group. So it'll help others also. So this is a very, very important thing. This karma actually works like this. Any sinful action that is performed, sometimes it takes so much time. It takes a lifetime, or it takes many lifetimes to for the sinful reaction to come and act on us. So it's a long, long this one. So, but by practice of devotional service, we know that all the sins get destroyed. It is by if I do a sin, the sin will have its own equation, and if I do a punya, the punya will have its own equation. So punya doesn't get cancelled by papa, or papa doesn't get cancelled by punya. But both papa and punya get cancelled by devotional service. It gets burnt. It's mentioned that if a seed is fried in the frying pan, it will not sprout again, right? So in the same way, we have the sinful tendencies, and this one, the tendencies get burned. Yeah, so in this connection, there is one important thing, prayaschitta. So the material prayaschitta that is happening, right? So many people recommend prayaschitta, like, no, you going through some difficulties and problems, no, they refer to some prayaschitta. So that what happens is, no, the prayaschitta actually works at this level. No, it just mitigates this, or at the max, the manifest prarabdha, to some extent, it can actually change. But what's the problem is, it cannot do anything to this side. No, the sinful tendencies, it cannot do anything to that side. So, but devotional service is such a thing that it completely destroys even this also. Of course, it destroys this, but then it destroys the most difficult aspect. That's kutam and bijam, that also it destroys. That's a very, very powerful thing of the devotional service, right? So it's more than any prayaschitta. Chanting of the names of the Lord, and performing the devotional service of hearing the glories of the Lord and worshipping the Lord, honoring prasadam of the Lord, it's like simply amazing. It just destroys scores and scores of sins, and piety also, like material punya and material papa, it just completely washes off. So that's how it's very, very powerful. The process of devotional service is very powerful. So we should keep reminding ourselves about this, and keep enthusing ourselves about this, that we should not give up the process of devotional service, because it's such a powerful process we have come up to. And no, we should just stick on to it, like, no, really, we should treasure this thing, and we should stick on to it. So like yeah, so this is the thing. So prayaschitta works, the material prayaschitta works on this side, and no, it doesn't do anything about the tendencies. But the spiritual engagement in the devotional service of the Lord practically destroys everything material. Be it the tendency, be it the fruits, be it the anything. No, it can just destroy anything. So we have one example of this one. No, it just doesn't happen all the time. But then one instance of a great devotee, Vasudev Dutt. No, he was having leprosy in his body, and then he wanted to meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was visiting a place very close to his residence. And then he was very eager to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He went there, but then only to know that already Mahaprabhu has left the place, and he was in deep pain of separation. No, he was not able to tolerate. He fainted and fell down at that place. And then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, being the Supreme Lord himself, and he knows that what's happening everywhere, and he came back just to see this person, and he lifted him up and he embraced him, and his bodily leprosy got cured. So then everybody would say that, okay, such a great miracle, amazing, thank you, this is the great mercy on me. So then, but then Vasudev, he was telling that no, my Lord, you have done such a great miracle on my body, and now people will talk about me, saying that you are great, you are so nice. So I'll get pride. No, and I'll, if pride comes in the mind, so then I'll not be able to think of you. I'll not be able to do the devotional service properly. So then the Lord advises him, saying that, no, don't worry. No, if you constantly chant the names of the Lord, and if you constantly preach, then preach the glories of the Lord, so then pride will not touch you, and you will always be healthy in Krishna consciousness. Right? So in this way, no, the aspect is that no prarabdha, which is already manifest, his leprosy is a prarabdha, no, which is already manifest in his body, but then no devotional service can cure, no. So it's, if the Lord wants, no, sometimes the Lord wants and sometimes the Lord doesn't want. So devotional service is not something that I can dictate, no, this is what I want and I pass an order and it should be delivered. No, it's not like that. No, devotional service is completely in the hands of the Lord. No, that's why a devotee, when he goes to the Lord, he says that, no, you want to offer me pleasure, it's okay. If you want to put me in pain, it's okay. In whatever may be the case, like, I will always continue to execute devotional service. So that's the mood in which a devotee actually approaches the Lord. He doesn't go with a mood that now the Lord has to give me something, right? So if he gives me something, then he is Lord. No, I'll accept. No, sometimes people also say, like, no, ye Krishna ka paas, like, no, you are worshipping Krishna and this Krishna is not giving you anything, right? So no, क्यों भगवान को थोड़ा बदल के देखेंगे ना, like, no, दूसरा कुछ भगवान का worship करेंगे. So like, maybe he will some other god we will worship, and maybe he will respond, and no, he will like, no, you are praying for this thing and he's not giving, that means, like, no, you should change the Bhagavan, right? So that's how people actually do. But that is not the way the devotional service to Krishna is worship. No, Krishna is performed. So asvishyava padaratham pinastumam, right? So adarshanan marmahtam karutuva yatha tatha va vidadatu lamfato mat prananatastu, like, sorry, I'm just losing the last line. But anyways, so this is very, very important aspect, that know whether the Lord actually does something what we want, and Lord is not doing something what we want. Whatever it is, like, we have come to the Lord to render service, and no, we have come to the Lord to render service as what He wants, right? So it's not that Lord has to become our order supplier. The Lord has to listen to all the things that, we want to do. So the Lord, we have to go to the Lord for rendering service to Him as He wants, right? So that's how the devotional service is. And we start listening to the Lord. We start listening to the Lord. We start listening to the Bhagavad Gita, and understanding more and more what He wants, and try to render service accordingly, right? So that's the important aspect of Krishna consciousness. That's why Shravanam is given more importance. Like, we have to hear, what the Lord wants. Okay, so just that we took a tangent on the karma aspect. So we will get back here. As explained in the 28th verse of 7th chapter, a person who has completely ended the reactions of all sinful activities, no, tesham, esham tu antagatam papam jananam punya karmanam te dvandva moha nirmukta bhajante mam dridhavrata, right? So who has ended all the sinful activities, and who is engaged in pious activities, being freed from duality of this material world, becomes engaged in devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. And in that sloka, it is also talks about dridhavata, with determination, right? In other words, those who are actually engaged in devotional service of the Supreme Lord are already freed from all reactions. This statement is confirmed in Padma Purana. Oh, okay. So this is the sloka. The diagram that I was explaining. So this is the sloka of that diagram. Aprarabdha phalam papam kutam bijam phalonmukam karme naiva praliyate Vishnu bhaktir rathatmanam. Right. So this is where you will find all these technical words: aprarabdha, phalam, and papam, kutam, bijam, phalonmukam. Right. So all these are the technical words that we discussed. Aprarabdha means the sinful, means the action. When I perform a sinful action, what comes out is the aprarabdha, and from there comes the prarabdha and the phalam. No, that is one direction. And then kutam is the stalk of the seeds, and bija is the desires that comes. No, kutam is a sum total of all the desires, a tendency that you can say. And then the bijam is the specific desire to commit a sinful action, right? And then from there comes the this one, further sinful actions, right? So in that way, like the whole thing is there. So karme naiva praliyate vishnu bhakti ratatmanam. So if somebody does vishnu bhakti, it's not only going to destroy the phalam, and that means the reactions that I'm going through, the pain I'm going through, and things like that. It's not just going to release me from there, it's going to release me from the tendencies also, the sinful tendencies also. That's the power of devotional service, right? Okay. So for those who are engaged in the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all sinful reactions, whether fructified, in stock, or in the form of a seed, gradually vanish, right? So all the sinful tendencies, sinful thoughts that come in the mind, no, everything can be vanished. No, it's not just something like randomly it's happening. No, it's all a system that's going on. So my thought process, why I have certain thoughts. No, thoughts means bijam. Why that bijam? Why that thought has come? Because I have done something to get that. No, it's not just some randomly something is coming to my mind. No, it's not like that. We are not in a random, aimless kind of a design. So we are, this material body is an intra rudani maya. No, uh, this is a vehicle created by, or a machine created by the material nature, and the no our like ordinary scientists and manufacturers, like they make some machine, this computer and things like that, that works so wonderfully. What do we think about our mind and our intelligence and our body? That's like done by the super architect, the material nature. So that will have so much of amazing things to happen, right? So here we see that the thoughts that we get. So many times people ask, like, how to control the mind. Here is the process. Do devotional service, get absorbed in the process of chanting, like chant every single mantra very clearly, and try our best to hear every single mantra very clearly, and then read the scriptures, hear the glories of the Lord, and do it very sincerely and with absorption and focus. Then see the magic. Like this bijam kutam and all those things, like it will go far away. The mind will get so much cleared, so control of the mind will automatically come, right? So that's the process that we are there in. That's the amazing process that we have. And the Vishnu bhakti, like, or Krishna consciousness, can destroy the fruits of action, the prarabdha that manifest reactions, and and also the tendencies, everything it can destroy, right? Okay. Therefore, purifying potency of devotional service is very strong, and it is called pavitram uttamam. No, pavitram idam uttamam. So Krishna tells in this particular sloka that we are discussing now. So the purest, uttama means transcendental, right? So tamas means material world or darkness, and uttama means that which is transcendental to material activities. No, ut means like no, it's like uttara. Uttara means like the north direction, right? So in the same way, like ut means it talks about something beyond. No, uttama, something beyond tama, something beyond darkness. That's the spiritual activities or transcendental activities, right? So devotional activities are never to be considered material, although sometimes it appears that a devotee are engaged like ordinary men. One who can see and is familiar with devotional service will know that they are not material activities. They are all spiritual and devotional, uncontaminated by material modes of nature. Right. So for example, we are distributing books. So like we go and stand in the street just like any other salesman, and we try to convince people. So it looks like ये लोग पैसे के पीछे पड़े हैं, like it's like they are just selling something, but no, there is something behind it. So we are trying, why do we have to do this thing? All of us are like no, we are not in that kind of need of money and things like that. So, but we are doing it because it's a service. This knowledge has to be distributed. And why do we have to take money? We can collect donation and we can do Shastradan and things like that. We, of course, we do it also. But then if the person can give something, in exchange to the knowledge that he is getting, that's kind of a reciprocation, and that makes his bond very, very strong. That makes his connection with Krishna very strong. So it's good, something that has been offered in return. So that's why, like, we tell to people in the streets that, you take this Bhagavad Gita, and this is the cost. Like, you can help us with the printing costs, so that we can print more books and things like that. So in that way, like, we can actually do. So it appears externally, it appears to be a material activity, but it is completely spiritual. So the management of the this one of the temple, we see so many practical activities are there. So many activities which may appear to be very material in its nature, but if it is all connected, and like, if it is all for the purpose of pushing forward the Krishna consciousness movement, as explained by the acharyas, as set by the acharyas, so then it becomes a spiritual activity, right? And they are devotional, they are uncontaminated and beyond the modes of material nature, right? So this thing is purifying. no Okay, so let's continue the purport. It is said that the execution of devotional service is so perfect that one can perceive the results directly. Pratyaksha bhagamam dharmyam, right? So pratyaksha, so we can actually see the results directly. So this direct result is actually perceived, and we have practical experience that any person who is chanting the holy names of Krishna, that is Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, in course of chanting without offenses, feels some transcendental pleasure and very quickly becomes purified of all material contamination. This is actually seen, right? So it's very, very important. So here Prabhupada uses this words also, like chanting without offenses. No, this is a key thing. Now, when we do this thing, then the advancement in Krishna consciousness is quite fast. So, but if we don't do the chanting with diligence, and if we allow the offenses to happen and things like that, so there are 10 kinds of offenses. To offend a devotee of the Lord, to consider the holy name to be like somewhat material, and devotional service to be material, and things like that. So then it becomes an offense. So there are 10 kinds of offenses are there. So that needs to be avoided, and no one has to practice chanting of the names with a lot of diligence. So then he makes a lot of progress. Okay. So furthermore, if one engages not only in hearing, but in trying to broadcast the message of devotional service as well, or if he engages himself in helping the missionary activities of Krishna consciousness, he gradually feels spiritual progress. So this is even more. No, you chant. No, that's very good without offenses. But if you can, help in the preaching activities, in the distributing the message of Krishna consciousness, we will see a lot of blessings of the Lord will come. That is very difficult just by doing our own personal sadhana. So if we can actually help in the preaching mission, then we will make tremendous progress. Because this is something which is very close to the heart of the Lord. The Lord is always feeling the pain that these living entities in the material world, they are suffering, and they're going through all this suffering. And one major problem that the Lord has is, he has agreed to give us this freedom, and he will never come in the way of stealing this freedom. And it's the devotees who can actually do this task of going and convincing people that why not you become Krishna conscious, why not you surrender to this all merciful Lord, who's always been wishing well for you, right? So in this way, like, a devotee only can do this. Nobody else. The Lord will never do that. And a materialistic person, even by wildest of the dreams, he can never come to the platform of devotional service. It's only the devotees. It's whole and soul. This responsibility lies with the devotees, or not just responsibility. The whole dealership and whole stock of devotional service lies only with devotees. And if devotees can go out and give this Krishna consciousness to others, so there is some hope for people in general. Otherwise, there is no hope. There is no way that people actually can get this Krishna consciousness, right? So in this way, we see that these devotional activities, or especially the missionary activities, the preaching of Krishna consciousness, is very, very important, right? So it's like real. important, this one. So we will see the difference in our chanting also if we do this activity nicely. If we are engaged in preaching the message of Krishna consciousness, we will definitely see a great difference in our chanting, right? Okay, this advancement in spiritual life does not depend on any kind of previous education or qualification. The method itself is so pure that by simply engaging in it, one becomes pure. In the Vedanta Sutra 3.2.26, it is also described in the following words: Prakashascha karmani abhyasat. Devotional service is so potent that simply by engaging in activities of devotional service, one becomes enlightened without a doubt. Right? A practical example of this can be seen in the previous life of Narada, who in that life happened to be the son of a maidservant. He had no education, nor was he born in a high family. But when his mother was engaged in serving great devotees, Narada also became engaged. And sometimes, in the absence of his mother, he would serve the great devotees himself. Narada personally says, Uchchistalepan anumoditodvija सकृत् स्म भुञ्जे तद् अपास्तकिल्बिषः एवं प्रवृत्तस्य विशुद्धचेतसस् तद्धर्म एवात्मरुचि प्रजायते. So this is uchishta lepan. So like even a small remnants of the food that is eaten by the great devotees, no, anumodito dvija, no, he actually took the permission of the Dvija, means or the great saintly persons who were there, so unto whom he was rendering service. No, with their permission, he actually took a little bit of uchishta, or the food particles that are remnants of whatever they have eaten, and then what happened? सकृत् स्म सकृत् स्म भुञ्जे तद apasta kilbishah evam pravrittasya vishuddha chetasas. So no, by doing this, his cheta, his consciousness become very clear. So it is considered, these three things are considered to be mahabal, no, great powerful potent elements of Krishna consciousness. And that is like uchishta, no, that is the remnants of food particles that are honored by a great devotee. And then the water that has washed the feet of a devotee, and then the dust of the foot, the dust of the lotus feet of the devotees. So these three are considered to be mahabals in Krishna consciousness, and they can purify the consciousness very, very fast. So that's what Narada went through. Here in this verse of Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5.25, Narada describes his previous life to his disciple Vyasadev. He says that while engaged as a boy servant for those purified devotees during the 4 months of their stay, he was intimately associating with them. Sometimes those sages left remnants of food on their dishes, and the boy would wash their dishes, wanted to taste the remnants. So he asked the great devotees for their permission, and when they gave it, Narada ate those remnants and consequently became freed from all sinful reactions. As he went on eating, he gradually became a as pure-hearted as the sages. The great devotees relished the taste of unceasing devotional service to the Lord by hearing and chanting, and Narada gradually developed the same taste. Narada further says, तत्रान्वहं कृष्ण कथा प्रगायथाम अनुग्रहेण श्रवणं मनोहराः ता श्रद्धया मे नु पदम विश विशृण्वतः प्रियश्रवस्य अंग mahad bhavadruchihi. By associating with the sages, Narada got the taste for hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord, and he developed a great desire for devotional service. Therefore, as described in the Vedanta Sutra, Prakashascha karmani abhyasat, if one is engaged simply in the acts of devotional service, everything is revealed to him automatically, and he can understand. This is called pratyaksha, directly perceived. Right? So we can directly perceive our advancement in Krishna consciousness. The word dharmyam means the path of religion. Pratyaksha vagamam dharmyam. No, it means the path of religion. Narada was actually a son of maidservant. He had no opportunity to go to school. He was simply assisting his mother, and fortunately, his mother rendered some service to the devotees. The child Narada also got the opportunity and simply by association achieved the highest goal of all religion. The highest goal of all religion is devotional service, as stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, Savai Pumsam Paro Dharmo Yato Bhakti Radokshaje. Parodharma, the highest religion, is Yato Bhakti Radokshaje. Right? So religious people generally do not know that the highest perfection of religion is the attainment of devotional service. To be engaged in the service of the Lord is the highest perfection. Right? So, as we have already discussed in regard to the last verse of chapter 8, Vedeshu Yajneshu Tapashu Chaiva, generally Vedic knowledge is required for self realization. But here, although Narada never went to the school of the spiritual master and was not educated in the Vedic principles, he acquired the highest result of Vedic study. This process is so potent that even without performing the religious process regularly, one can be raised to the highest perfection. How this is possible? This is also confirmed in the Vedic literature. Acharyavan Purusho Veda. One who is in association with great acharyas, even if he is not educated or has never studied the Vedas, can become familiar with all knowledge necessary for realization. The process of devotional service is very happy one. Susukam Kurtum Abhyayam, right? So it's Susukam. Why it is so happy? Devotional service consists of Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnoho. So one can simply hear the chanting of the glories of the Lord, or can attend philosophical lectures on transcendental knowledge given by the authorized acharyas. Simply by sitting, one can learn, then one can eat the remnants of food offered to the God, nice palatable dishes. In every state, devotional service is joyful. One can execute devotional service even in the most poverty stricken condition. The Lord says, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. He is ready to accept from the devotee any kind of offering, never mind what, even a leaf, a flower, a bit of fruit, or a little water, which are all available in every part of the world, can be offered by any person, regardless of social position, and will be accepted if offered with love. There are many instances in history simply by tasting the tulsi leaves offered to the lotus feet of the Lord. Great sages like Sanat Kumara became great devotees. Therefore, the devotional process is very nice and it can be executed in a happy mood. God accepts only the love with which things are offered to Him. And so, this gives a complete paradigm shift of what is worship to God. So people generally have this idea, I should go to God for what? Because he can give me something. No? So like why do we have to go to temple? Because for asking something, right? So I want this, I want that. So to ask something. But Krishna consciousness is the first thing, no, the Bhagavad Gita is the first thing that is teaching us that we should not go to God in the mood of asking. We should go to God in the mood of giving. No, we should not. We should have this idea that no, I should always give to God. No, I should not take anything from God. I should always give to God. So that's the mood that we should always have. And we see that no, here it's mentioned if somebody is very very poverty stricken, he is like completely no, not having anything for him and things like that. So what he should do? So the devotional service says, okay, even he can give something to God. No, it's not that he cannot give anything to God. So here also the question of God giving to him is not coming. It is only like we giving to God is coming. Why? Why so? Why God cannot give? Why only we have to give to God? No, the answer is no. He is like Eko Bahunamyo Vidadati Kaman. He's been giving to us all the time, right? So the air that we breathe is given by Him. The food that we eat is given by Him, and everything that we have, in the possession, the body that we have is given by Him. The intelligence that we have is given by Him. What more? No, what more we can ask from Him? So now it's high time that we should give something to God. No, that's the beginning of devotional service. No, that's the way of devotional service, right? So let's see the purport further. It is said here that this devotional service is existing eternally. Pratyaksha Bhagamam Dharmyam. So Susukam Kartum Avyayam. Avyayam means like it is never exhausted. No, it is no ever existing. Eternally existing. It is not as the Mayavadi philosophers claim, although they sometimes take to so called devotional service Their idea is that as long as they are not liberated, they will continue their devotional service. But at the end, when they become liberated, they will become one with God. Such temporary time serving devotional service is not accepted as pure devotional service. Actual devotional service continues even after liberation. When the devotee goes to the spiritual planet in the kingdom of God, he is also engaged there in serving the Supreme Lord. He does not try to become one with the Supreme Lord. As will be seen in Bhagavad Gita, actual devotional service begins after liberation. After one is liberated, when one is situated on the Brahman position, Brahma Bhuta, one's devotional service begins. Sama sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim lavate param. Brahma Bhuta prasannatma na soshati na kangshati. No one can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead by executing Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, or any other yoga independently. By these yogic methods, one may make a little progress towards bhakti, but without coming to the stage of devotional service, one cannot understand what is the personality of Godhead. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is also confirmed that when one becomes purified by executing the process of devotional service, especially by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita from realized souls, then he can understand the signs of Krishna or signs of God. Evam prasanna manaso bhagavad bhakti yogatah bhagavad tattva vijnanam mukta sangasya jayate. Right? So here we see that evam prasanna manaso. So when one's heart is cleared of all nonsense, then one can understand what God is. So we have many times discussed that how will we get knowledge? Knowledge is not something acquired externally. Knowledge is something, the process of knowledge is to cleanse our senses, mind, and intelligence of the material contamination. And all the anarthas or all the misgivings or all the material contamination or lust is wiped off from the senses, mind, and intelligence, then what remains is knowledge. No, the pure knowledge actually comes, right? So that's the thing which Srila Prabhupada is quoting here. No, tada rajastamo bhava kamaloba dayaschaye chetayete rana viddam stitam sattve prasiddhati evam prasanna manaso bhagavat bhakti yogatah bhagavat tattva vijnanam mukta sangasya jayate. So when the modes of passion and ignorance subsides and stitam sattve prasiddhati, when we become fully situated in the sattva guna, in the pure mode of sattva guna, then what comes out is knowledge, right? So, and that knowledge means prasanna manaso. Knowledge means happiness. No, ignorance means distress. Knowledge means happiness. A person in knowledge, you can never put him in distress. Once one sannyasi of ISKCON, like he was approached by a devotee, and then the devotee was telling, Maharaj, can I disturb you for some time? No, I want to ask you something. So then the sannyasi told that, you can talk to me, but you cannot disturb me. That's not possible. So it's like, no, the people in knowledge, they will never get disturbed. No, because they are in evam prasanna manaso bhagavat bhakti yogatah, right? So when one's heart is cleared of all nonsense, then one can understand what God is. That's the real knowledge, right? Thus, the process of devotional service of Krishna consciousness is the king of all education and the king of all confidential knowledge. It is the purest form of religion and it can be executed joyfully without difficulty. Therefore, one should adopt it, right? So, here goes the second sloka purport. It's such a exhaustive purport, and Prabhupada goes to every detail of explaining this bhakti yoga process, how it is. So this confidential knowledge, it may not be confidential for all of us, because most confidential knowledge, because from day one we are chanting the names of the Lord, from day one we are hearing the glories of the Lord and reading Bhagavad Gita, reading Bhagavatam and hearing the lectures on pure devotional service. That's exactly what is the most confidential knowledge. But when we study it very systematically, as the Acharya is presenting here in the purport, so we can actually understand the glory of this process that we have been doing. Otherwise, sometimes we take it so lightly. Oh, this chanting, this I've been doing, and things like that. So we don't understand what a great wealth, what a great treasure that has been given to us. Right. So by studying these purports, by studying these commentaries of the Acharyas, so we can actually get tremendous faith in the process, and tremendous reverence towards the holy name. No, we should not just take the name of the Lord in a playful way. No, we should take it with so much of reverence and so much of respect, and that's something that we get by studying these purports. And all its in all its detail, we can get it, right? So we should be eternally grateful to Srila Prabhupada for giving us such immense amount of clarity on how to practice this devotional service, right? Okay, so thank you all very much for joining. So we will stop here for today, and somebody can post the this one, that papam bijam kutam, and that graph you can find in the internet, and you can post it in the both sangha group and also the reading group. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada Book Marathon ki jai. Hare Krishna.